You ever notice how people walk around acting like the universe is some giant therapist that gives a damn about their problems? Like there's a big cosmic suggestion box somewhere, and if you whine loud enough, a star explodes in your favor. It's amazing how self-important we become. We've convinced ourselves that out of the trillions of galaxies, the billions of planets, and the endless chaos out there, we're the main event. We actually believe the universe takes attendance. It's the ultimate human arrogance. Cosmic narcissism with a side of wishful thinking. We like to think we're special because we can talk, invent things, and build civilizations. But you ever think about how the universe has been around for 13.8 billion years? That's a long time to not care. You think your bad day matters to something that's been creating and destroying galaxies before our species even knew how to light a fire. The sun doesn't even know you exist, and it's literally keeping you alive. It's like being in love with someone who's never looked up from their phone. We orbit around this giant burning ball of indifference, and we have the nerve to think our grocery lists are important. And yet, everywhere you go, you hear people saying things like, everything happens for a reason. Yeah, the reason is physics. You slipped on a wet floor because gravity didn't take the day off. There's no moral lesson in that. Just Newton laughing from the grave. But people can't handle randomness. We need everything to mean something. We need to believe the universe is paying attention, keeping score, handing out prizes and punishments like a cosmic Santa Claus. It's a comforting lie, but still a lie. The truth is, things just happen. Stars are born, planets die, and somewhere in between a human gets upset because their Wi-Fi dropped during a Netflix show. That's the scale we live on. We're this microscopic blip floating through infinite darkness, desperately trying to make it all about us. Religion, politics, fame, it's all humanity screaming into the void. Notice me. But the void doesn't respond. It never will, because the void doesn't have to. It's already winning by existing. And here we are, fragile, nervous, and overconfident, trying to convince ourselves that our stories matter in a place that doesn't even know the concept of story. It's the ultimate comedy. A creature too small to be seen trying to explain the universe that created it. Well, people always say we're made of stardust. Yeah, but so is dirt. It doesn't make either of us important. It just makes us related. And when you really think about it, that's what makes it funny. We build entire philosophies around our existence because we can't admit we're temporary. Everything we do, work, love, legacy. It's all a way to distract ourselves from the fact that we're cosmic leftovers trying to feel relevant. You're born, you blink, you die, and somewhere in between, you try to get a few likes on Instagram to prove you mattered. It's not tragic, it's hilarious. We've turned meaning into a currency. Everyone's out there trading beliefs, selling hope, packaging purpose like it's an Amazon product. Or find your destiny. Unlock your cosmic potential. You can't even find your car keys, but sure, the universe has a grand plan for you. That's what we do. We sell comfort. We can't handle indifference, so we turn it into intention. We imagine that every traffic jam, every breakup, every stubbed toe is the universe teaching us a lesson. Maybe the lesson is you're clumsy and late. Not everything is spiritual. Sometimes it's just stupid, but people don't like that. They want to believe the universe is a conversation, that it's sending signs. You ever hear people say, I think the universe is trying to tell me something? Yeah, it's saying, stop talking to yourself. The universe isn't whispering your name in the wind. That's just air pressure and sound waves. But we can't help it. We're addicted to meaning. We're constantly translating randomness into revelation. A coincidence becomes fate. A tragedy becomes destiny, and a lucky break becomes divine intervention. We take chaos, paint it with hope, and call it enlightenment. And you can't even blame people. It's hard to wake up every day and admit you're insignificant. It's hard to look up at a night sky full of stars and realize not one of them knows or cares that you exist. We built entire civilizations just to avoid that thought. We built gods, laws, governments, all of it to make the chaos feel personal. We've been running a global PR campaign for existence, trying to convince ourselves we're the reason for it all. We have consciousness, we have purpose. Yeah, so does a virus. And that one's been doing a lot better lately. That's the real punchline. We think intelligence gives us power, but it just gives us anxiety. We can contemplate infinity, but we can't handle traffic. We can send robots to Mars, but we can't stop fighting over imaginary lines on a map. The universe isn't impressed. It's been making suns for free while we charge money for electricity. We think we're creating progress, but all we're really doing is decorating our cage. We built skyscrapers to touch the sky, but we still can't reach understanding. That's the cosmic joke. The smarter we get, the dumber our problems become. And what's funny is, even when we try to sound humble, it's still egotistical. We're just a small part of the universe. Yeah, but you still think the universe cares that you know that. Even humility becomes a brag. I'm so humble about my place in the cosmos. Congratulations. The vacuum of space just gave you a participation trophy. It's like ants having a debate about their impact on the forest. Meanwhile, the forest is on fire. The universe doesn't care about your perspective. It's too busy collapsing stars and birthing new ones. But maybe that's the beauty of it. Maybe the joke isn't on us. Maybe we're in on it. Maybe the point of being conscious in an indifferent universe is to see the absurdity and laugh. Not mockingly, joyfully. To see how ridiculous it all is and still find a way to care anyway. Because if the universe doesn't care, then everything you do is extra credit. You don't have to matter to matter to matter. That's the loophole. You can live, laugh, love, screw up, and none of it affects the cosmic scoreboard. Because there isn't one, you're free. You can stop auditioning for an audience that isn't there and just perform for the fun of it. You start to realize how much lighter life feels when you stop trying to impress the stars. When you stop demanding meaning, you start noticing beauty. You start seeing the miracle in the mundane, a sunrise, a laugh, a shared silence. You stop chasing some grand cosmic purpose and start appreciating the absurd poetry of being alive. Because that's all it is. Absurd poetry written in stardust and sweat. The words don't have to make sense to be beautiful. They just have to exist. And that's what's so funny about humans. We spend centuries building telescopes, peering into space, searching for signs of life, desperate to not be alone. When all along, the universe was right there saying, I already gave you everything you need. I gave you laughter, curiosity, love, stupidity. What more do you want? But no, that's not enough. We want to be special. We want to be chosen. We can't handle being another accident in a long line of cosmic accidents. So we write poems about destiny, songs about forever, and books about heaven. All because we can't face the fact that the universe is just doing its thing and we're lucky to even be watching. And maybe that's the real kind of faith. Not believing that the universe cares, but believing it doesn't have to. That existence itself is the miracle, not because it's planned, but because it's possible. You don't need a divine reason to be grateful. You just need to notice. Because every breath, every moment, every heartbeat is the result of a billion random coincidences that didn't have to line up but did. You don't owe that to a god or a galaxy. You owe it to chance. And that's hilarious, because we've spent centuries trying to turn chance into purpose, chaos into comfort, infinity into a bedtime story. So when you really think about it, maybe laughter is the only sane response to the truth. Because if you can laugh at the absurdity of existence, then you've beaten it in a way. You've turned indifference into inspiration. You've taken a universe that doesn't care and made it the backdrop for your comedy. You've found light in a place that's mostly dark. That's power. That's perspective. That's liberation disguised as humor. Because in the end, it's not about winning or understanding or even mattering. It's about recognizing that you're a cosmic accident with the rare privilege of knowing it. And instead of crying about that, you choose to laugh. You choose to participate in the joke, to celebrate the chaos, to live loud in the silence of space. Because maybe the universe doesn't care, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't. Maybe that's what it means to be human. To laugh in the face of infinity and mean it. You ever notice how people talk about life like it's supposed to make sense? Like there's a manual somewhere and everyone else got a copy except you. People walk around pretending they've figured it out. But follow your passion. Find your purpose. Trust the process. What process? Nobody even knows what they're doing. We're just a bunch of confused mammals trying to make meaning out of chaos while pretending it's all under control. That's the real joke of life. It's completely ridiculous, and yet we take it so seriously. We act like every choice we make has some grand cosmic consequence, like the fate of the universe depends on whether or not you go to the gym today. Relax. The universe doesn't care if you do cardio. Life is this weird, messy, unpredictable accident that people keep trying to organize. It's like trying to alphabetize a thunderstorm. You can make plans, set goals, visualize success, and then one random Tuesday, something happens that reminds you who's really in charge. Not you. Not your goals, not your manifestations. Just life, raw, unfiltered, and uninterested in your expectations. That's what makes it funny. The gap between how much control we think we have and how much we actually have. That's where all the comedy lives. Take luck, for example. People love to talk about hard work, dedication, perseverance, and sure, those things matter a little. But let's be honest, luck's running the whole show. Where you're born, who your parents are, what era you exist in, you didn't earn any of that. You just rolled the dice and ended up here. People say you can be anything you want to be. No, you can't. You can be whatever the circumstances allow. You can work your ass off and still lose, or be lazy as hell and win. Life's not fair, and that's not depressing. That's hilarious, the kind of humor that takes the pressure off. Because once you realize the game's rigged, you can stop trying to impress the dealer. But we don't like that idea. We need to believe we're in control. We build these little illusions, jobs, titles, routines, to make life feel manageable. You wake up, drink your coffee, check your phone, complain about something, and pretend it all means something. That's the trick. You have to keep yourself busy enough to forget you're just killing time between two eternities of nothing. We fill our days with noise and nonsense just to drown out the silence that's waiting underneath. And we call that a living. People will say, a life is what you make it. Really? Try telling that to a mosquito. Or someone born in a war zone. Or fish stuck in a plastic bag. Life isn't what you make it. It's what it makes of you. You just react, adapt, improvise. You take the punches and pretend it's a dance. That's what we do. We make up stories to explain why we're here, why things happen, why suffering exists. We're storytellers trying to explain a joke we didn't write, and the punchline is always the same. You thought you understood, that's cute. And every time we think we've got life figured out, it changes the rules. You plan for tomorrow, and tomorrow laughs in your face. You think you're safe, and then life reminds you. It has a dark sense of humor. You get a promotion. Your car breaks down. You fall in love. They ghost you. You buy health insurance. You still die. That's the rhythm. You win, you lose, you breathe, you die. Somewhere in between, you laugh, cry, eat, and scroll endlessly through your phone to avoid thinking about any of it. People think happiness is the goal. Like there's some finish line where everything suddenly makes sense and you get a medal for existing. If I just get the job, the partner, the house, then I'll be happy. But it never works that way. You reach the top of one mountain and immediately start climbing another. Because the view doesn't fix the emptiness. It just gives you a better perspective on how pointless the race is. We chase happiness like it's an object, something to acquire. But happiness isn't a place you arrive at. It's a moment you notice while you're distracted by something else. The problem is we're too busy trying to control life to actually live it. We treat it like a to-do list. Check boxes, follow steps, achieve goals. We turn existence into a project like being alive isn't enough. And when things go wrong, we panic, as if chaos is a glitch in the system instead of the system itself. We act shocked when bad things happen, as if the fine print didn't say, this will hurt sometimes. But that's the thing, it's supposed to hurt. It's supposed to be unfair, unpredictable, absurd. That's what makes it interesting. A perfect, predictable life would be unbearable. It'd be like watching a movie where you already know every line. You ever notice how kids get it right without even trying? They don't care about the meaning of life. They just live. They play, they laugh, they cry, they move on. No overthinking, no existential crisis. Then adults come along and ruin it. We tell them, grow up, be responsible, plan for the future. And then one day they're sitting in traffic, listening to motivational podcasts about how to be happy again. The irony's delicious. We spend our whole lives trying to return to the mindset we told ourselves to outgrow. And we think we're smarter now. We've got technology, science, philosophy. We can split atoms and map genomes, but we still can't stop fighting over imaginary lines on a map. We're still animals, just with Wi-Fi. We think progress will save us, but progress just gives us new ways to be miserable. We used to worry about food and shelter. Now we worry about followers and algorithm. Our problems change costumes, but it's the same circus underneath. We chase meaning like it's something hiding behind the curtain. But maybe there is no curtain. Maybe this, the absurdity, the chaos, the randomness, is the show. Maybe the whole point of life is to realize there isn't one. That's freedom, isn't it? To stop demanding explanations from a universe that doesn't owe you any. To stop pretending there's a reason and just enjoy the ride. Because once you stop asking a why, you can finally start laughing at a how. How ridiculous it all is. How fragile, how temporary, how beautiful in stupidity. And let's talk about death. Everyone's favorite topic. We tiptoe around it like it's Voldemort. He passed away, he's in a better place. No, he's gone. He stopped existing. That's it. But we can't handle that, so we invent stories. Afterlives, reincarnation, spirits watching over us. It's comforting, sure, but it's also denial dressed as faith. The truth is, death is the punchline that makes the whole joke work. Without it, life wouldn't be funny. It'd be an endless rerun with no finale. Death gives life urgency, shape, meaning. You laugh because it ends. You ever think about how strange it is that we fear the one thing that makes everything else matter? We cling to life like it's guaranteed, like it's something we own. But it's borrowed time. You get a few decades to make noise in an indifferent universe. That's your deal. No extensions, no refunds. You can fight it, or you can laugh and play your part while it lasts. That's not nihilism. That's acceptance. That's peace. Because when you stop demanding permanence from something temporary, you can finally appreciate what's in front of you. And here's another twist. We act like the universe is cruel for being indifferent. But that indifference is what makes it fair. If it actually played favorites, we'd be in real trouble. The fact that it doesn't care means you're free to live however you want. No judgment, no cosmic scoreboard, no divine surveillance. You're not being watched. You're being ignored gloriously, completely ignored. And that's the best deal you could ask for. Because if nobody's keeping score, you can stop performing and start being. You can stop trying to win in life and just experience it. But humans can't stand that kind of freedom. It's too big, too open-ended. We need rules, rituals, meanings. We build systems to give structure to the chaos, religion, science, philosophy, politics, all attempts to label the unlabelable. We think if we name the stars, we'll understand the sky. But we never will. We're pattern-making machines stuck in a patternless universe. We'll keep trying anyway, because that's what we do. We can't help but search, even when there's nothing to find. And maybe that's the secret, to laugh at the search itself. To see it for what it is, a bunch of confused creatures spinning on a rock, screaming why into the void, and then getting mad when it doesn't answer. That's comedy gold. The absurdity of asking for purpose from a universe that doesn't even know what a question is. But instead of despairing about that, you can laugh. Because once you accept the silence, it stops being scary. It becomes peaceful. You stop waiting for meaning and start noticing moments. The smell of rain, the sound of laughter, the warmth of another person's hand. That's life. Not the grand explanation, the small sensations. The truth is, life doesn't owe you anything. Not happiness, not fairness, not understanding. It's just a temporary ride through chaos. You can spend it complaining that it's unfair. Or you can laugh at how unfair it is. You can curse the randomness, or you can find beauty in it. You can waste time trying to make sense of it, or you can embrace the fact that it doesn't make sense and live anyway. Because that's all there is. Not meaning, not purpose, just experience. You're here, you exist, you get to play. And if you're lucky, you get to laugh while you do it. So the next time life kicks you in the teeth, don't ask, why me? Ask, why not me? The universe doesn't discriminate, it screws everyone equally. And that's kind of beautiful. You're not being punished or tested, you're participating. You're part of the chaos, part of the comedy. You get to feel, to fail, to fall apart, to rebuild. And somewhere in that mess, you might just find something better than meaning. You might find peace in the absurdity. Because if you can look at all of this, the randomness, the suffering, the beauty, the stupidity, and still find a reason to laugh, then you've already won. You made peace with the punchline. You've understood the joke. And that's as close to enlightenment as any of us are ever going to get. You know what's really funny about life? It's how everyone pretends they're okay. Every single person you meet is wearing some kind of mask, walking around like they've got everything under control, like they've cracked the code. But scratch that surface even a little bit, and you'll find chaos just beneath it. Fear, confusion, pain, longing. Nobody has a clue what's going on, but we're all too scared to admit it, so we put on our brave faces and pretend. We act like we're part of some great, meaningful story, but if you zoom out just a little, just a few thousand miles up, you realize it's all noise. Billions of people, each one thinking their problems are special, each one convinced they're the main character, all buzzing around on a floating rock in the middle of nowhere. That's comedy. That's the big cosmic punchline. But instead of laughing, we take it all seriously. We panic about our jobs, our reputations, our social status. We obsess over how we look, what people think, whether we're as successful. As if success means anything when your entire species could vanish, because one rock from space decides to drop by uninvited. The universe doesn't even know you're here. It's too busy doing whatever universes do. Galaxies are colliding, stars are exploding, and here we are, stressing about deadlines and step counts. That's like worrying about your haircut during an earthquake. And yet people will still wake up tomorrow and check their notifications like they matter. They'll scroll, compare, judge, envy, all while convincing themselves they're living their best life. We've turned existence into a competition. Who's happier? Who's richer? Who's more enlightened? You ever notice that the people who talk about happiness the most never seem to have any? They're too busy chasing it. That's the problem with humans. We treat happiness like it's a destination. That it's a destination. Like it's somewhere you arrive after collecting enough of good experiences. But happiness isn't a prize. It's a side effect. It happens when you're not trying to control everything. When you stop caring about how life's supposed to be and start laughing at how it actually is. The real issue is that we keep demanding that life makes sense. We can't accept randomness. We can't accept chaos. We need reasons, patterns, logic. Everything happens for a reason, people say, because it's comforting. But no, sometimes things just happen. A tree falls, a car crashes, someone wins the lottery, someone gets sick. There's no cosmic spreadsheet keeping track of fairness. The universe isn't balancing your karma. It's not watching your Instagram story. It just is. The rain falls on the guilty and the innocent. The sun shines on idiots and geniuses alike. It's completely indifferent, and that's not depressing, that's freeing. Because if nothing's fair, then you don't have to waste your life expecting it to be. Look at how obsessed people are with control. They plan everything. The diet, the career path, the retirement fund. They make vision boards, manifestation journals, 5-year plans. And then reality comes along and says, oh, that's cute, and knocks it all over. You can plan all you want. Life's still gonna throw curveballs. Because the truth is, control is an illusion. It's our way of pretending we're not terrified. We're clinging to the steering wheel of a car that's already flying off the cliff, convincing ourselves that turning it left or right still matters. It doesn't. But if you can learn to laugh while you're in free fall, that's when you finally understand the joke. And the joke is that everyone's faking it. Everyone. The confident guy, the influencer, the guru, the billionaire. They're all making it up as they go. They just have better lighting. But deep down, they're scared too. Scared of dying, scared of failing, scared of being seen as ordinary. That's what drives everything. Fear. We built civilization around fear. Religion, laws, money, manners, all just creative ways to manage anxiety. We tell ourselves stories to make the fear quieter. You have a soul. You're important. You're meant to be here. Sure, it's all make-believe, but it helps us sleep. And here's the thing, maybe that's okay. Maybe the point isn't to destroy the illusion, but to see it for what it is and play along knowing, like an actor in a play who realizes it's a play but still gives a good performance. You don't have to believe it's real. You just have to enjoy the scene you're in. You don't have to have faith that everything's meaningful. You just have to find humor in how meaningless it all is. Because once you stop taking life so personally, you start to see the absurdity in everything. In everything. You stop trying to win the game and start laughing at how ridiculous the game even is. You ever notice how life loves to humble people? Just when you think you've got it figured out, it hits you with something out of nowhere. An illness, a breakup, a bill, a betrayal. It's like the universe has a twisted sense of humor. Oh, you thought you were doing well. Watch this. It's not out to get you. It's just not paying attention. It's not personal. It's just chaos doing what chaos does. But we, being the emotional little apes that we are, take it personally. We think the universe is testing us. No, it's not testing you. It doesn't even know you exist. You're like an ant yelling at a thunderstorm. That's what's so funny. People think they're special. Everything happens for a reason, they say. Yeah, sometimes the reason is that you made a dumb decision. Sometimes there's no reason at all. But we can't accept that because it shatters the illusion of control. We'd rather believe an invisible force is guiding our fate than admit we're just passengers on a random ride through chaos. Because randomness is terrifying, but it's also honest. It's the one thing you can actually rely on. The fact that nothing will go as planned. And yet, in that randomness, there's beauty. You look around and realize that somehow, through this absurd cosmic lottery, you exist. You get to experience this. The laughter, the pain, the sunsets, the music, the taste of food, the sound of rain. All of it temporary, fleeting, meaningless. And somehow that's what makes it so precious. If everything lasted forever, it wouldn't matter. The joke works because it ends. You laugh, you cry, you fade away, and the show goes on. That's the beauty of it. You know what's strange? We call it life, but we spend most of it thinking about anything but living. We think about work, money, reputation, the future. Everything but the actual moment we're in. We're too busy worrying about the next thing to notice the thing that's happening right now. People say, "A life's short?" No, it's not short. It's just wasted. We burn through our time trying to perfect something that was never meant to be perfect. We try to make sense of something that was never meant to make sense. And the moment you finally stop trying, when you just sit still and breathe and watch the madness play out, that's when you get it. That's when you see the cosmic joke clearly. You see that you were never in control, that there was never a plan, and that's okay. You start to laugh at yourself forever believing otherwise. Because what else can you do? You can cry about it, sure, but laughter's the smarter choice. It's a sound of surrender without defeat. It's the only reasonable response to the absurdity of existence. People like to say, everything's connected. Maybe. Or maybe nothing is. Maybe the only real connection we have is that we're all lost together. We're all just confused, scared, pretending we know what's going on. And if you can laugh about that, you've already made peace with it. Because laughter is the great equalizer. It's the sound of understanding that none of us are in charge. It's the sound of release, of letting go. We keep chasing enlightenment like it's some mystical state, but maybe enlightenment is just the realization that the universe doesn't care. And that's fine. That you don't need the universe to care. That you can find meaning in your own small moments, even if they don't matter in the grand scheme. You can love someone, make someone laugh, share a meal, stare at the stars. And that's enough. It doesn't have to be cosmic. It just has to be real. But people hate that answer because it's too simple. We want drama, significance, narrative. We want to be part of something big. We can't accept that maybe life is just a series of small, beautiful, pointless moments strung together by time. We want to believe we're the chosen species, the center of everything. But look around. The universe has billions of galaxies. We're sitting here arguing about whose God is better. That's funny. Not tragic, not depressing, just absurdly, magnificently funny. So maybe the real wisdom is to stop fighting the absurdity and start celebrating it. To laugh at how silly it all is. To stop demanding order from chaos and start dancing with it instead. Because chaos isn't the enemy, it's the playground. It's the background noise that makes your small moments stand out. Without it, there'd be no contrast, no texture, no story worth telling. Life's not a tragedy. It's a dark comedy with an ever-changing cast. You enter, you play your part, you exit. The universe doesn't applaud. It doesn't review your performance. It doesn't even notice. But if you manage to make someone laugh before the curtain falls, well, that's as close to immortality as you're ever going to get, so maybe that's the point. Not to be remembered, not to be important, not to control or conquer or explain, just to laugh. To stand in the middle of the chaos, the uncertainty, the cosmic indifference, and still find something funny about it. That's the ultimate act of rebellion. That's what it means to be alive. Because when you can laugh in the face of meaninglessness, you're no longer its victim. You've transcended it. You've turned the absurd into art. You looked the void in the eye and said, "You don't scare me." You joined the joke, not as the punchline, but as the one telling it. And when that day comes, when you can truly laugh, not out of denial, but out of understanding, that's when you finally get the last laugh.